Ha'olam, Hashem Natan Torah. Amen. Blessed are you, Lord God, King of the universe, who gives the Torah of truth and the good news of salvation to his people Israel, and to all the people through his Son Yeshua the Messiah, Lord. Amen. Alright. I've asked you guys to go and do some homework. You'll be interested to see what you found. We're going to be discussing the Omer. Alright? Or as maybe people with a slightly different accent would say the Omer. Okay? Yeah, Omer. Okay. So, tell me, where do you find this in your Bible?
Leviticus 23, 15 to 16. Can I first show me?
Yeah. Some people have not Leviticus 23, verse 15. Dust off the cobwebs. No, she does her homework. She does. Alright, so you know Leviticus 23 is the place where you find out all about the holy convocations, the days of God, right? So, he talks to people about Pesach, and he talks to them about the lamb and the offering and the burnt offering, and this will be a permanent regulation. Go to verse 15. From the day after the day of rest, that is, from the day you bring the sheaf for the waving, you are to count 7 full weeks. Until the day after the seventh week, you are to count 50 days. Then you are to present a new grain offering to Adonai. You must bring bread from your homes for waving, 2 loaves made with a gallon of fine flour, baked with leaven as first fruits for Adonai. Along with the bread, present 7 lambs without defect, 1 year-old, 1 young bull, and 2 rams. These will be burnt offerings for Adonai, with the grain and drink offerings, an offering made by fire as a fragrant aroma for Adonai. Okay? So he says the day after the Sabbath. Alright, so what we know that to be is we had a Shabbat when we celebrated Pesach, yes? So going into the feast of unleavened bread, the first day is a holy convocation and the 7th day is a holy convocation. And they have no work, but they are focusing on what God said. So what they would do is they would take the first, it's not the festival of first fruits, but they would take a sheaf of barley and they would bring it to the temple. So from the day the first sheaf comes in, they would start to count. Okay? 7 weeks. And on the 50th day, that is the next feast. Okay? So God creates this link from the night just after Pesach. And remember, when we're talking about the feast of Pesach, we're talking about 3 feasts, right? Passover, unleavened bread. I'm just going to write your matzah. You guys all love that matzah. And first fruits. So when we talk about Pesach, we're talking about all 3. Okay? So it says after the first Shabbat, in the festival of matzah, you have on the first day and on the 7th day, you have to count. And what God does is He links all of this to the next feast. And He links it by counting in 7s. What does 7 represent?
Completion.
God's plan, God's purpose. Okay? So He goes, you're going to count 7 sevens. Okay? So you're going to get you to 49 days. And on the 50th day, something happens. What happens on the 50th day? I mean, what do we call it? The feast of?
Feast of Weeks.
Shavuot or weeks. Okay? Shavuot. Okay? Literally the feast of weeks. As in 1 week is a Shavuah. Okay? Otherwise known as Pentecost. Shavuot is the plural. Pentecost. How did we get the name Pentecost? No. It's called Shavuot then too. Penta, yes? comes from the second. Okay? So you've got Pentecost is a number of 50 days. Alright? That's where they get the link in. Okay? And then they say, this is where we sort of understand it. And the link is because of the 50 days that we go in, and that's when we know what happened. We know a lot about the New Testament version of this. We know very little about the Old. I'm not going to go into that yet. You're going to be counting as we go. Okay? It is a mitzvah. It is an instruction when we count the Omer. You've got to make the link or do the count. It's not a countdown, it's a count up. Okay? So we go, this is the first day of the Omer. This is the second day. This is the third day. This is the fourth day. Alright? What day is it today? Fourth day. Okay? W. And as we start counting, God's trying to help you understand that there's a link between the two. It's your job to go and look. This is not just about counting day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. We can all count up to 50 here for you. Why does God make this perpetual instruction to link two feasts together? What is the point of the purpose?
Self-examination, self-reading.
That's what the rabbis teach, but I'm talking about biblical.
Isn't it because of Mount Sinai, that's when they received the Torah?
No, that happened on Shavuot. You don't really need that. Only until Shavuot. Surely God could have just said, you know, on this day, at this time, you ought to celebrate Shavuot. Why does He make you count the entire time? It's about that. It is about that. Okay? To get our answers, we're going to have to go and we're going to have to look through Torah. Because there are a few things that happened during that time. Okay? And I've gone through them very quickly and just basically giving you a highlight of them. Okay? There's a couple of beautiful little links that come in, and if we have time, we're going to examine a little bit of the old and the new. If we look at from Exodus 12. Okay? What happened in Exodus 12? Awesome. Okay? So he goes, now this is what's going to happen. We know the story, they get the wealth, they leave. And then from that time on, if you look at, just do me a favor, go through your Bible, and especially if you've got those nice big highlighted subheadings or headings, as you flick over, it'll tell you certain things. Okay? Yeah. Let's have a look at some of them. It says, as soon as they leave, what happens? Before that, God says something cool. Before we get there.
Consecration of the firstborn. Crossing the sea.
God says, I will lead you by cloud, by fire. Okay, first image. Remember, good Hebrews, we look at pictures, yes? Alright? Second thing that happens, He takes them to? Oh, fast rewind, brother. See a reed. Okay? We're going to call it the Red Sea. Next. They cross over. Yay!
It's in the 70 pounds.
Mara. Okay, I'll explain them as I go. Alright? Then we go to from Mara to Elim. From Elim, something cool happens. Oh, we did our homework. No. Should I just be happy you guys addressed it? Yeah. You're like, didn't you know this probably both days? Manna falls from heaven. And make sure I spell quail right. Quail, okay. Manna falls in the morning. Quail comes in the evening. Then we get something that happened at a place called Refadim. Okay. Alright. Are you all more or less checking this out in your Bibles, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a couple of questions. What is an Omer? What? It's the measure of what? Mana. Okay? And what happened, roughly how big is an Omer? Okay, it's actually a liquid measure, it's about 2.2 liters. Okay? So he says, you need to count the Omer, and he's actually talking about his provision. Because it says, when they went out on Shabbat, okay, Exodus 16, you know what, let me read it for you. I don't want to go too fast that we miss this, but I also would like to get into the New Testament. Exodus 16, verse 17 to 20. Exodus 16, verse 17. If I wrote my notes down correctly. 16. Chapter 16, verse 17. Blah, 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 blah. The people of Israel did this and they gathered more than some days. He's talking about gathering the manna over Shabbat. So as in preparation for the Sabbath, he says you will gather a double portion because there will be no manna that falls on the Sabbath. Okay, it's a trust game. I will give you your daily bread, but on the sixth day, trust me that I've given you enough so that you can rest on the seventh day. And the people who didn't trust, they went out and there was no manna. The people that did, is lost it enough. It's funny that when they gathered the daily portion, okay, they gathered just enough, and whatever was left over until the next day didn't last. So some people tried to gather 3 days worth, and it spoiled. But somehow, on a Friday, it seemed to last for 2 days. Okay? God's provision is there so that you can keep His days. Right? Is that making sense? Alright? So look at this. The people of Israel did this. Some gathered more, some less. But when they put it in an Omer measure, whoever had gathered much had no excess, and whoever had gathered little had no shortage. Nevertheless, each person had gathered according to his appetite. So he goes out and he says, you gather according to what you have, and long story short, most of them come out with roughly an Omer. Okay? So God provides for them in this text. So He wants them to remember, just by the name, He's already making the link between this and manna. Okay, now we're going to look at these pictures. So he goes out and he says, I will lead you to the land I promised to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. I will lead you there. I'm going to cover you by day with cloud and by fire at night. Takes them all the way through, and remember we made the GPS recalculating moment. God goes to a place and it says He turned back, and then they went to the Red Sea, the Sea of Reeds. And what does this symbolize to us? A mikvah, right? Okay, a baptism of service. Mikvah. Okay, this mikvah passing through water and ruach, wind, right? Remember it says God sent a wind and it parted the water. That same term, wind, is ruach, holy, or not holy, kadosh is holy, but breath, spirit, same word. Okay? Remember that. It passes through water and ruach. And they get through on the other side, trusting God. And then God washes away the sins. The Egyptians who tried to come and chase them down. Okay? Washes away who they were, and then they celebrate. Okay? Then they walk for a couple of days, and then they go and look for water, and then He takes them to a place called the waters of Mar. Okay, Mar in Hebrew is bitter. Stand to be corrected, but if you want to check me with your Bibles open, it was 3 days. 3 days they come up and then he takes them to a pool of water that is too bitter for them to drink. GPS recalculation again. What is God doing? Does he not know where fresh water is? Can he not provide for his people? Or is he busy teaching them something about them? About him? You see, we look at these places and we don't ask the question, why would a loving Father bring them out, bring them into a wilderness, walk them for 3 days, and then he puts them in a place where he can't replenish his stuff? How many times have you walked for a while and you pitched up and you're like, oh, my ship's coming in, and then when you get there, you realize it's not what you hoped for. God's provision looks a little bit funny compared to what you would do. Okay? Why? Why would anybody do that?
So we don't put our trust in the water or in that thing, but rather put our trust in Him and God.
First, rewind a little
Well,
bit.
they've come out of a very bitter place, Egypt.
They come out of a bitter place, but what are they carrying with them?
God.
Well, from Egypt, maybe they are sitting here, you have just won the lotto. And now you are stranded SOS style and you cannot drink your money. You can't eat your money. The one thing that you thought would sort out your life forever, you realize is absolutely useless. Oh, but if I just had this wealth, man, and give me a piece of land and then I can just do this and I can do that and then I'll be comfortable. Your comfort is not God's priority. Your spirit is. Your eternity is. So He's going to make things a little bit uncomfortable from time to time. How you respond to that is up to you. What did Israel do? They grumbled. So when you go through hard times, please learn from the Israelites. Less of this and more of this. Abba, I don't understand. Grumbling doesn't work out well for people. Why? Because you start to challenge God. You start to look at where He is and you start to go, who are you? What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? You start to question His love. Problem. You see, we don't question that God can. We question the fact that He would want to do it for me. It's a little bit more personal. But you can do anything. You can do it. But when you pray, I don't really think He's going to do it. You do not doubt His ability, you doubt His love. Be very careful. He only created you, He only shook heaven and earth to get you out of where you were, to bring you to this place, to teach you something about yourself, teach you something about Him. And you want to doubt His love. 3 days. How are those jewels working out for you? You want to drink that then? No. But I could buy water with it. Go ahead. There's no one here. My point exactly. We get so stuck on our comfort level and what money can do for us if only we just had. You know, one of the greatest parallels you see when you go to Israel is you go to a place, cruise around the Galilee, or you're sitting in the desert and there is nothing. These little towns. There's 4-chambered rooms that are not even the size of that back piece. And that's your living quarters, your sleeping quarters, your storage. You don't have wardrobes because there's no point. If you had 2 sets of clothes, you were pretty well off. Why do I need 2 pairs of clothes? I mean, wear one set at a time. And you come in there and you see these little houses. And you think their entire lives squeezed into this. All they have. This little space. Which is about 3 meters by 3 meters. And then you go to a Roman city. And you look at this place and they've got public toilets, and they've got theatres, and they've got hippodromes and stadiums, and it's all about luxury and sport and all the rest of it. you look into scripture, I'll tell you which one got favored and which one didn't. You with everything lack God, so therefore you have nothing. And you with nothing have everything. If you start to define your life about what you don't have, you are going to be counting for a very long time. But if you stop for a second and look at who you have, it's amazing. I leave my house every year, Baruch Hashem, go to Israel, we take tours, and we get stuck in hotel rooms. Double bed, bathroom, every check. You know, you open up your suitcase and it takes up the whole eastern quarter of your bedroom. I'm used to space. After 10 days, I don't care how small my hotel room is. I'm in Israel. I'm living here. I'm standing here at Abba's feet. I'm having a good time. Not once that I look at, oh, look at me. I wish I only had a flat that I would have a little bit more space. You become so acclimatized to that little room. You are quite happy to go there and you just say, this is a place where I can just kick my feet up, I can have some coffee, and I can read my Bible, and I'm in peace. And you come home, and it's filled with distraction, and it's 42 times the size of your hotel room, and you can do this without worrying about knocking anything over. And yet, I miss my hotel room. It's not about stuff. This is not going to make you happy. Yes, it can make you more comfortable, but for what purpose? God's giving you a big house. Why? Just for you, or for the people He's bringing? He's giving you extra money. Why? Just to make you comfortable. Or are there other people in need? It's not about your comfort, man. It's about where you are. And understand, everything you have is a gift. But you need to yield it to Him. How many people out there would just one day dream of having their own car? Just being able to climb into wheels and just being able to drive. It's a dream. And you, climbing in your car, and you wish you had something better. You get stuck on the stuff. It's not important. So He takes you to a place where He goes, you like things. How's this desert working out for you? Want that money? Try and spend some. You're starting to realize that this money cannot save you. Are you starting to realize that I am the one who is leading you step by step? I'm the one. Your money didn't part the sea, God did. And He brings it to a place and He says, bitter waters. And He goes, I want to show you something cool. Instead of going to Moses and go, Moses, I was trying to teach us something here. What's with the bitter waters? Moses goes, hey man, I don't know, let's go ask. Instead, we grumble, we moan, we don't like where we are. This is uncomfortable, this is not what I wanted. Where's the promised land? You're 3 days in. Really? Count the cost of discipleship. It's so hard. How many of you are loving that taste of matzah right now? It's supposed to be a feast. It's supposed to be a celebration. I don't care if you're eating cardboard. You're supposed to be having a party. Celebrate with your matzah. And you're sitting here and you're moaning. We get stuck on our comfort, and that's not what God's definition of love is. He says, I am here. That should be your battle cry. That should be your hope. That should be your peace. If God is with me, nothing else matters. If you move into a smaller home, I'm not speaking this over anybody, but if you have to move into a smaller home, guess what? You will climatize. And you will be happy. And you might have less things, but you still have God. And if you move into a bigger house, guess what? You'll climatize. You'll still be happy. God will still be with you. That should not define who you are and what you believe. But everything God gives me, I need to go, Abba, this isn't just for me, what are we doing with it? Okay? So he takes him to this waters of bitterness, and then he goes, all right. They grumble. Moses says, Abba, what is the point of this? He says, take your staff, or a stick, and put it in the water. Same image. And all of a sudden, the bitter water turns to sweet water. In God's picture, I will make your bitterness sweet. Are you not celebrating at this time, remembering slavery and bondage of who you were? How many of you cringed when you came out of that life cycle? Every time everybody reminds you about how awesome you were before Christ. Yeah, I still get ashamed, eh? Remember my old war stories. My unsafe friends, not for long, amen. They like to remind me of the good old days when Vincent was a little bit of a loose cannon. But I've learned over time to go, instead of letting Hasatan go, yeah, you see, God doesn't love you. That's how you used to be. To turn around and say, you know what? Baruch Hashem, look how far He's brought me. We are no longer in Egypt. I don't have to deal with that stuff anymore. I know I'm not that same man because that man couldn't say no to X, Y, and Z. I enjoyed this and this and this, and now I'm walking away.
Amen.
You are still there. How's that bondage working out for you? Me, I'm on the other side of the Red Sea smiling, going, you want to come and visit sometime? I can see it and I can move away. And now when I look back, it can be sweet in my mouth because I can see by the grace of God what He's done for me. And it was always through the authority of the staff. When Moses did a lot of the plagues, he used a stick. Through God's authority, your bitterness will be turned sweet. But you've got to let that bitterness go. If you are hanging on to your past, if you are holding on to unforgiveness, and the biggest part of unforgiveness is unforgiveness of self. You do not forgive you. Your worst critic is yourself. How can you hold on to something that God has already forgiven you for? We have, how do I say this? Brothers and sisters in Christ who continually beat themselves over things that they've done. And they think, no one must feel the pain. And literally they beat themselves. God took that beating for you, so you wouldn't have to. He died, so you wouldn't have to. So stop beating yourself up and start looking up for a change. I'm no longer that man. God can always remind you about how far you've come. But He doesn't say you haven't changed. That's Satan's job. You're useless, you're nothing special about you. You're not successful, blah, blah, blah. Fish space, you haven't changed, you're still the same as you were. You know, a really good snapshot, or a really good picture for me is, look at where you are now. And think of yourselves, where were you 6 months ago? Where were you a year ago? Where were you 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago? Do you see yourself coming closer to God? Is there progress? God willing, amen? Yes, we're moving forward, right? And if we're moving forward, then I'm not where I used to be. So stop sitting there going, oh, I'm going to change, people, I don't know how God can love me. He loved you anyway when you were doing those things. That's why He came to save you. He pulled you out. Now let the dead be dead. Let it go. And in doing so, you learn to let others go. Those past hurts, those broken homes, broken relationships, broken family, let it go. You see, Israel really struggled. When they went to Egypt, they wanted to be back, and when they were in Egypt, they wanted to leave. Never stop and focus on who you are now and who God has called you to be. It's time to move forward. He'll make your bitterness sweet. He takes him then and he takes him to a wonderful place called Elim. Elim is the same word as wisdom. The waters of wisdom. And he brings them there, and what does he find? Right. 12 springs of living water. And then 70 date palms. Date palm is a symbol of righteousness. And the fruit. Right. When God says, I will take you to a land flowing with milk and honey. The honey is not just with the bees. They take dates, they boil them, and you get something called date honey, which is actually more like a syrup. And that's sweetness. And it was the tallest tree in Israel at the time. The best tree. And it's upright. And the image has always been this: may I be upright and righteous, like the date palm. May my fruit be sweet. You eat dates? It's sweet. When God tests your fruit, it'll be sweet in His mouth, not bitter. So what you're bringing to God is tzedakah, righteousness. Okay? 12 springs. You know, God could have just bypassed Mara and then just go, all right, you know, I'm sick and tired of this bitter story. And I'll just take you to the 12 springs of living water. You see, 12 was a number for who? Tribes of Israel. And he says, this is what I need you to see. I'm going to make you this. You're in a desert. Everything is dead around you, but I'm going to make you an oasis. I'm going to make you that living water. I'm going to help you become this. And he goes in with his 70 date palms. 70 was a number for what? The Sanhedrin. The 70 righteous. Okay? And when they came in, when they made what they call the Sanhedrin was leaders, they came in 70 guys that were supposed to help Moses guide this nation spiritually. And he said, you want to choose 70 righteous men whose fruit is going to be sweet. And they're going to guide everybody and bring them in. You know that the Parliament of Israel today still has 70 seats. It's called the Knesset, the Knessia, the gathering. And they have 70 seats and 70 members of Parliament still thinking back of Allah. Make us like this. Then they start moaning about bread. And God says, all right, I'm going to do something cool. God such, let's cage about 2.5 million people. And He allows manna to fall from heaven. At a word. Comes from the word manhu, which is, what is this? Because they had no idea what it was. And it says it felt like coriander seeds. And coriander seeds is about, more or less, a little boliki about that big. It's about white. And they said when they ate it, it was as sweet as honey in their mouth. And they would get in an Omer full, and that would be the provided. And then they would grind it up, and then they would bake it, and then they'd eat it, and they would make cakes and breads and all the rest of it out of this manna. And you would have to go out daily and go and get it. Bread of life. Because if you don't eat it, you die. And God just doesn't want you to say, hey, here we go, eat some bitter fruit. Sweet as honey.
Just on another note, getting back to Peter.
Yes.
I have to, as far as the Hebrew is concerned, Aleph, Lamed, Mem. If you're looking at Aleph being a picture of who God is, Aleph, so the first person, God that's
Lamed is a staff,
Lamed is the staff and Mem is the water.
Alright. So God who is shaping His people with water, right? True water. Is there good in one in you?
Huh?
Is there no good in you?
I'll have to check it
We'll have to check it out. Alright, cool.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you were saying.
I said when you look at The way the Elim is spelled, it is Aleph, Alpha,
Yeah.
the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, okay, which is a reference to God. The Lamed is the shape of a shepherding staff, so God who shepherds, and then Mem is a picture of water, to water. Okay, so the very piece of it says, bring you to living water. Okay? So Mana says you need to go out, but how many of you would be very happy with at least 2 coriander seeds and think, that's me, I'm done? You need to get in a daily portion. So how many of you read one verse and then think you're fed? Oh, don't worry, open up your devotional, it'll be fine. And you wonder why you're starving. I will not live by every word that comes out of his mouth.
It's exactly like God's word portion.
I think
No, because that's a lot to read, eh?
5 chapters a week. Oh, scandal. 5 chapters a week. It'll take you 2 minutes, maybe 3, to read 8 chapter. Read 8 chapter. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Takes me hours.
let's be gracious. To read a chapter, 5 minutes. You want to tell me 5 minutes a day with your loved one is enough? I love you, Fee. Have a nice day. Bye. Where you been? Been here. You haven't been talking to me. Where you been? You're starving your spirit because you're not giving it food. You need to spend time in it. We were talking to Jeremiah on Wednesday and he said, I have devoured your word. Ravenous, hungry for each mouthful with God. You spend an hour and a half, 2 hours watching TV without battering an eyelid, and you want to talk to me about spending 5 minutes with your Creator. You make time for the things you want to do, but this seems like a chore. Well, let me help you out here. You can either starve and wonder why you are not close to God. Wonder why you are not strong. Wonder why you don't understand Him. Or you can go, hang on a minute, I wasn't really watching this anyway. Maybe I should go spend half an hour with Him and I can read 4 chapters. And I can spend time praying. And I can get to know Him more. And He can strengthen me. He can guide me. He can tell me where I need to be and what I need to be doing. And God forbid you only eat once a day. If I had to take your food away and put you guys on rations, you would call that fasting, right? Oh, don't worry, you only eat at sunset. Breakfast and then nothing. But you do that to your spirit. You spend 8 to 10 hours working, studying for 3 hours. Sorry, Abba, I've only got 5 minutes.
You're making us embarrassed.
Yeah, I'm just giving you. Yeah, I'm just pointing at the pictures. 1 verse at a time is not enough. Devotionals have their place, guys. You can read that thing and you can read the little testimony, but I'll tell you what, if you do not spend time in your word, you are going to be hungry. What's waking up 10 minutes early and spending 10 or 15 minutes with God? And then before you go to bed, instead of watching that extra half an hour of TV, just go and get quiet. Good as a family, good as a unit, good by yourself. No one else is going to feed you. You guys are big now. You've got to get to the kitchen yourself. Spend time. Okay? Look at the pictures. It says the quail will come in the evening. Okay? They hungered for meat. In Egypt we had. Nostalgia is a problem. Back in the good old days. You know, every generation says that. Me, I'm only 34, and I say, yeah, back in those days, eh? The kids of today, they don't understand. And then that's my parents say the same thing. We go through this process of thinking back to how it used to be, and we forget about the bad stuff. Let me put this into you. How many of you have ever heard of or been had the unfortunate experience of dealing with a spouse who's lost the other spouse? And when they think of the memories, and my dad passed away, it was probably like 10 or 11 years ago now. And I was there the whole time, and the way my mother talks about my old man, like they never fought ever. We always used to hold hands and skip to the fields. Make one thing for sure, they were always holding hands, but I promise you, at times there was no skipping. There was a bit of grumbling and a bit of issues. But you know what? They remember the good times. And when we look back at the past, and sometimes Pastor Tan traps us a little bit and he goes, "Yeah, remember when you were free, when you could do whatever you wanted to?" Isn't it happy as, "Yeah, remember how you felt when you were free? This is stupid, I love my life, where's God?" We need to get back to the fullness of it. And they're thinking back and they go, "We need meat." And the big question with this one here, these two, man, burns my butt. They run around and then they say, "Is God with us or not?" Don't shake your heads, we do this quickly. When you're looking at your table and it's looking a little bit sparse, when you're looking and you don't have the luxury of the meat and the fish and the melons from Egypt, and you think to yourself, "Yeah, where are you, God? You say you love me or what?" Oh, that your comfort be above your God. Be careful. He's trying to teach you something. And the first time he brings quail, it's a blessing, man. And it's like it said, for 3 days march. Again, brought by a ruach, a wind that pushes them across. For 3 days in any direction, there's as much meat as you can eat. And I was sick of it. But that question, is God with us? That is the same stiff-necked problem we have today. It gets uncomfortable, we don't understand, we don't know where we're going. You said something about a promised land and now I'm stuck in a desert. What is this thing? Where are you? Let's ignore this. Is God with us? Fire over my head. Serious? Look up. I've been in the desert when it's cold. Normally springtime. 14 layers of everything we put on. It's freezing. That pillar of fire, I believe, kept them warm. People freeze to death in the mornings. And I've been there in some 48 degrees. 48 degrees. By 10:30, it was 38 and climbing. And the hottest part of the day is not 12, it's at 4, because the sun only sets at 9. 38 degrees by 10, and we haven't even gotten close. I promise you, my body craved aircon. I was born without, God, there's a sense in you, right? I was born without sweat glands. That's why I'm so silky smooth. The hair follicles don't grow as well. Okay? And then for our honeymoon, God says, take your wife to Israel in June. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Second trip. And I was uncomfortable. But you know what? For a guy who should have, in normal circumstances, probably died, literally. I've got no way of cooling them. I was walking around at 37 degrees and I was having a grand time. See, when you're in the wilderness and when you're walking in obedience, it's amazing how He sustains you. played golf with Uncle Granton and Nick the other day, and I think it was only 28 degrees. I got to the 7th hole and I was like, love you guys, I'm out of here. And we jumped into my car and I went, jumped into my pool. It was 28. Yet, in Israel, at 48, I'm teaching my wife, and we're walking around Masada. Doesn't make sense to me, but this is how God works. Is God with us? Come up to a place called Rephadim. What happened to Rephadim? Was it? Yeah, that's what it was. Yes. So there's two things. We have a water problem here, and then we have a war problem. Water and war. And God goes, they go, meow, 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 more water, please. Meow, 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 more water. And then he tells Moses, go and smack that rock. Okay? No, that was the second time. There were 2 parallel instances and there were 2 places where he talks about striking the rock for water. So the first time you strike it, the second time you go speak to it. Here's the thing. Because some of the stones that you find in the wilderness, they're actually quite porous. So what they do is, when the dew forms, or when it does rain, it actually starts to form little cavities behind the rock. Okay? So that if you're desperate, you can walk up to a rock, you can hit it, and water pours out because it's been slowly being hid in the rock itself. Now this word for rock can make a reference to a mountain. Okay, and it says they were in the region of Mount Hor, which is what we understand. Horeb is Sinai, right? Yeah, sorry. And then he went up and he says, go and strike that. Now, we can look at this one of 2 ways. Either it was a rock and God made a miraculous amount of water come out, or Moses went back to the place of the burning bush where they were going and he struck the mountain of God and water rushed out. Either way, it's miraculous. Because if it was a little rock or a big rock, God provided for probably close to 2.5 million people plus their flocks. Now this is the cool thing. If he did it naturally, it would probably make more sense that it was the mountain. But get this, the amount of time it would take to do drop by drop, to get behind this, inside of this mountain, to get this water hiding there, it would have probably happened or started happening at the time when Israel, the man, with his sons came down to meet Joseph in Egypt. And it probably took 400 years to get up that amount of water. So he says, all right, in 400 years my kids are going to come out and they're going to be thirsty, so I'm going to start sorting it out now. So you don't need to worry about your today, tomorrow, and next year. God's already got you. He already knew which way you would go. He says, they're going to walk right past you, man, and when they do, water's waiting. If you did it naturally. Either that, we have another image. Living water coming from a rock itself. If you look at Ezekiel, it starts to talk about a little stream that comes out from the very altar of God. And that stream turns into a river, and the river runs around all the way into the Dead Sea. It's called dead because nothing lives in, literally not even microorganisms. And the prophecy was this water coming from the altar of God, from Mount Moriah, turned this Dead Sea into life again. It's a resurrection picture. Through the living waters of God that will flow from His very feet, and will turn the Dead Sea into a life-giving water, and it's a place will be teeming with life, and there will be fish there. For those of us that have swam in the Dead Sea, you don't even want to stick your mouth there. I've had the misfortune of seeing people dive into the Dead Sea because some people were not warned. They were not happy. I'm just saying. Right? Took them about half an hour to stop crying because that stuff burns. Let me put it this way. We tell our people, please don't shave a day before. Okay? So you give yourself some time because that layer that you take off, that's going to be sensitive. If you've got a little bit of sunburn, it starts to sting. So for God to bring life through this living water, He's giving you a picture. But because of their grumblings, war happens. Who came down? And what did the Amalekites do? Where did they attack? Head on? The back. Who's at the back? None should be covering the back. But I think these were even people that were a little bit probably lagging behind. You see? Amalek was really good at capturing people and then selling them off. These guys were slave traders. So they would capture and take on the weak, and they wouldn't want